Welcome to the Fascia-Informed Therapist, the essential podcast for occupational therapy professionals looking to deepen their understanding of fascia's pivotal role in therapy and health. I'm your host, Amy Mayer, an experienced occupational therapist, practice owner, and dedicated educator. Here we'll dive into the fascinating world of fascia, exploring its significance in the human body and its critical influence on occupational therapy practice. Each episode will bring you cutting-edge insights, expert interviews, and practical strategies to help you confidently integrate the science of fascia into your therapeutic approach. Whether you're a seasoned practitioner or just starting out, our goal is to equip you with high-quality, evidence-based, and fascia-informed continuing education opportunities that will enhance your skills and benefit your clients. So join us as we unravel the complexities of fascia and transform the way you practice occupational therapy. All health and wellness practitioners are welcome. Let's learn, grow, and evolve together. Hi, this is Amy, and this is another edition of the Fascia-Informed Therapist. And today I'm really looking forward to talking to Ian Ray. I was a guest on his podcast, which I think has yet to be aired as of our recording, but we had a really great time talking and learning about each other. And this time I'm looking forward to having the focus be more on him rather than me. So Ian is the owner, yes, of Stretch to Go in Baltimore, Maryland, and we connected first on Instagram. So Ian, let's start with just having you introduce yourself and just telling a little bit about you and your practice.
Sure. So I'm Ian Ray. I'm here based in Baltimore, Maryland. I've started Stretch to Go. We are a mobile fascia stretch therapy practice. We do have a studio here based in Baltimore, but we also are mobile in two different counties, Anne Arundel and Howard County. So serve basically the Baltimore, Annapolis region area, or even greater Baltimore. Currently, I'm a level 1 fascia stretch practitioner, but soon to be level 2 next week. Based through the Stretch to Win Institute, and I'm also a stretch and flexibility coach through NASM. So I've been doing this since July 2024. So that's when I first started my practice, and then I'm just looking to add in some other modalities like cupping. I'm also scraping. Still work with fascia, obviously, but I'm just trying to apply some different modalities to help people live pain-free. But I've been doing this from a career change, basically. So this is a great thing that I've learned. I'm still learning about fascia, and I'm excited to be here.
Okay. How did your path start intersecting with fascia?
Okay, so so I moved to Maryland, gosh, when was this 2023 of August. My wife's from here, so my family and I moved here, and I started working at a physical therapy clinic as a PT tech and doing marketing for them, which led me down the path of assisted stretching. And the owner actually wanted me to start the practice's first stretch therapy. And so I started getting clients and was doing it for several months, but I didn't know how to do it correctly and find the results that I wanted to. And so I went down this rabbit hole eventually on Instagram and YouTube of people doing stretch therapy, and I saw them using the straps on the table. I was like, what is Stretch to Win? What is fascia stretch therapy? And that led me down to this path of, finding the Stretch to Win Institute, where I enrolled that following July. And I went to the course. It's a week-long course, and I was opened by this, just near fact that I've never had body work done on myself, or I've never done body work also. And so this was a total different thing, because my background is in marketing, sales, and like healthcare. nothing with body work, nothing with fascia. And, um, you know, throughout this whole time, I was informed that, I've always had bad ankles, bad knees, just from the various sports. And then I guess the time that I went to that course, I was able to unlock that hip that's been hindering me for several years. And so that's how I was able to get into the work with fascia is through the Stretch to Win Institute. So it's helped me. When I'm passionate about one thing, I'm the type I just go head on and dive in, become illuminated with what's there to offer. And so with fascia, it's such a learning experience for me, and that's why I started a podcast because I'm trying to reach out to those who also don't know much about fascia and fascia work, and trying to bring light into this where it's such an important thing aspect because it's something that people have disregarded for so long that it's such an important role for daily activity and physical activity and whatnot. So it's something that I'm passionate about, and that's why I started my podcast, and that's why I continue to do this. So.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. I'm interested and open to and excited about any way that we can affect the fascia and help people with that. And there's so many ways to affect the fascia. And I know there's some who say this is the way, and others who say no, it's this way. But I think there's multiple avenues into the body via the fascia. And I've read the Fascia Stretch Therapy books, but I've never been to a course. So tell us all about what is Fascia Stretch Therapy? How do you learn about it? Just start with what it is, I think, first, because that's probably a lot right there.
Yeah, so fascia stretch therapy, it's more than just traditional assisted stretch therapy. We work with the fascia lines, so meridian lines that Tom Myers or anatomy trains as,
Mhm.
and Robert Schleif. There's so many different people. So basically, it's based on these fascia lines. So fascia stretch therapy is so different because there's no pain. It's gentle. There's large gains that you can get from it. It's long lasting, and it's very intuitive. You're really listening to the body. But what makes it different also is that we include traction, some oscillation, some circumduction, just to kind of give some space in those joint capsules. And I think that's one thing that's missing in the traditional assisted stretching is that type of those points, along with the fascial lines that we're stretching and educating clients that we're not just stretching your muscle, but we're stretching fascia. The course itself, with level 1, level 2, level 3, and level 4, they're a week-long course, Monday through Friday, from like 9 to 6 that you go and you're being educated by these instructors who have been doing it for several years. So there's one course. The headquarters is based in Arizona, and there's also a course up in Canada, Toronto area that I have gone to and I'm going back to. And Chris and Ann Frederick are the originators, founders, were, teaching people from all backgrounds. So if you've never been to a FST course, it's all hands-on, 90% hands-on, 10% you try to do the book work, pass a quiz online, and then you go through the course.
Okay.
But from 9 to 6, you're stretching different bodies, different people, different aches and pains. And the instructors are there to give you feedback right away, saying, this is how you can move the body differently. Maybe this is how you apply different pressure or how to hold different stretches. It's great because I guess with bodywork, if no one has done bodywork, it's a great introductory session for you to learn about yourself and learn about the body and how to work with someone else rather than, if you're sitting behind a desk or doing manual labor, there's all different walks of life come here and just want to learn about the body. So it's one thing that I found that's helped me to learn more about manual work is through this course because it's so fun. The instructors are very caring and it's the greatest ROI in the past courses I've taken.
Okay, ROI, return on investment for anybody that doesn't know that. Okay, so we're on a podcast, so describe what if you're doing fascia stretch therapy with somebody, like what would I be seeing if I was watching you do it? Like there's a table, right?
Uh,
Okay.
yeah. So I guess in essence, we have our massage table. We have these two soft straps. They're Velcro there, and just to hold your lower limbs in place, so that when you're doing some traction, or if you're working on a single, limb, it's there to hold you. You can also use your hands, but typically that's what it's there for. And the sessions, they can last from 30 to 90 minutes. Like I said, we work, from basically the ground up, whether if it's working on, the ankles, the hip flexors, the upper bodies, even down to the pelvis, the neck. I mean, it's a head to toe type of thing. So we're passively stretching them, but we can also include some PNF, or proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation, where we
Okay.
tract and relax. So we also include that in the stretch therapy. And then, of course, including a lot of traction. So there's always some traction, oscillation, just to, like I said, create some opening in the space in the joint capsule, and then try to get into deeper into that range of motion. But we're always assessing the body, whether if you're lying down, on your side, on your stomach. And like I said, it should be gentle. There should be no pain whatsoever. And the greatest thing is that we are always, like I said, listening and communicating with the clients, just to make sure that they're okay, that there's no, pinching or nothing that's going to cause them pain. Because I think that's the one thing that we don't want people is to have a bad experience, because they probably have had with traditional,
For sure.
traditional assisted stretching. So that's something that we have to, as practitioners, is we have to help them break that barriers that no, this should be gentle and it should be a safe place for you. So yeah, I do want to note that people who have gone to like these boutique or chain stretching places, I've had clients come in and they've had bad experience based off of maybe the education or just the type of stretching. It's not for them. And they haven't found the results. But through the fascia stretch therapy, they've been, ecstatic as far as the results and the way that they felt getting off the table. So
Yeah, I've heard, I wondered if that might come up today because those chains are popping up in a lot of places, and I've done a little investigation on what kind of training or background they get, just because mostly out of curiosity, because it feels good to be stretched, but it can absolutely be dangerous if you're too aggressive. And I agree with you 100%. That's probably one of the hardest things with my clients, especially the male clients that come in, is trying to get them to back off and get away from that if it doesn't hurt, it doesn't work kind of attitude, right? Yeah.
uh,
Cool.
yeah, and
Okay. Go ahead. Sorry,
I,
you go ahead.
I was thinking that even like we try to have everyone on the table to just kind of relax and use the breath work to really bring that parasympathetic nervous system to just calm and relax, because
Love it.
it's whether if they're coming in straight from work or they're running late or just a high stress job or they're holding a lot of tension, it's important that they kind of set themselves up at the beginning, because they won't get the results that they want if they're tense and they're not breathing throughout the work. And I think that's something that you probably see in your work too, is like how breathing and just calming your body during that session is such a key aspect to get them better results.
Yeah. How long do you usually spend with a client?
So currently my client, what I offer is 30 minutes to 60 minutes. The beginning, my first initial consultation, 10 minutes, just to do some quick body postural assessment, seeing where the range of motion is. So, and of course, doing their, intake form. But of course, my sessions, from there is 50 minutes during the stretch. Or if they're doing just lower body or upper body, then I'll do 30-minute session. But that's typically for people who are coming for like maintenance. But my initial consultation, I give them the hour so that they can get used to it, and I can work head to toe, because I don't know where, like I said, when fascia stretch is that it's not just one area, it's the whole fascial lines that we're working. So we can't just focus on that one aspect, you know.
Okay. So do you have kind of a routine that you go through, or do you pick and choose what you do based on the client and their issues?
Yeah, so definitely through because of the health history and intake form, I do try to focus on the area that they've been facing. But my hour sessions, like I said, I would do head to toe, so everything from the ankles to the head, just so I can find the most restriction, and then from there on, if it's the next sessions, then we'll work on that specific area or those different fascial lines that's affecting whether it's hip, back, shoulders, and that's typically where I focus in that aspect. I like people, if they're coming for an hour sessions, to do it head to toe so that we're not just neglecting one part of the fascial lines, But if it's very specific, my 30-minute sessions, it's probably because they've been around for a while and it's just maintenance mode, getting them prepped for, whether it's season or competitions or whatnot. So that's typically how I treat my clients.
You tend to see that your clients are also people that are doing other kinds of health and wellness activities, like maybe acupuncture or massage or whatever. Like it's one piece of a bigger puzzle of keeping themselves feeling good.
Yeah, and I do. I'm here locally. I am actively looking for health practitioners, who are working with fascia or just health and fitness related, so I can, outsource to, whether if they don't have someone in their network, because I believe my work can only do so much, and so like I said, including the different modalities, whether acu, chiro, massage, can help them either get better results from FST work or where they're going to get care. It's that we're all working collectively together, and there are different aspects of what we do each collectively that can help their goals, what they want to do. So I
Yeah.
find most people who have come to me first have gone that traditional route of primary care or the injections or surgeries, or they're trying to avoid all these things, and they're coming to me as a last resort, or they found it through someone who's had FST work. So, but mostly this is like the introduction to body work, I think, where most people have come to see me.
Okay. What's the average age of your client, do you think?
Ooh, so right now, my youngest client right now is 13. The oldest client I have is probably like in the 50s.
Okay.
Um, that's like the people I kind of gravitate more towards is the people who are in an athletic population, active lifestyles, sedentary jobs, if they're sitting or sedentary lifestyle or they're desk jobs, physical labor. Those are what I've seen so far.
Okay. Wow. That's really diverse. I like that. Okay. So, how do people find, I know you have a marketing background, which I'm jealous of that. I wish I had more skill there. But tell me, how do people find you? Like, how do they land on you? Is it more referral? Do you have, your I know you have a great website, but tell me how they find you.
Yes. So since I've started this in July, I think I'm trying to work within my, I guess, county. So I've been actively putting myself out there in different, fitness, health, wellness clinics or practitioners, and actively going out there, introducing myself, giving them a quick demo so they can feel and know what I do. Because I think fascia stretch therapy, it's such a niche thing that people don't understand what I do or how it can help their clients. So I've been doing, demo sessions, pop-ups here and there in the community, locally, so that I can become that go-to person. But outside of that, it's just been mostly, social media, just showcasing what I do, some client testimonials. I haven't had much success. I haven't done any Google ads or Facebook ads or anything. I'm trying to keep it more organic. and organic and like I guess more authentic as possible. So
Okay. So what you do, I'm really going off the questions I gave, you, but I'm curious.
uh,
So it's kind of a labor intensive therapy that you're doing. How many clients do you typically see in a day, and how do you take care of your own body?
yeah, so right now, since I work at a chiropractic clinic on Monday and Thursdays, um, I mean, over there, it's, I'm dealing with people who have chronic pain. So a different population, of course, than what I'm treating here in my studio.
Okay.
But I would say right now I'm seeing like, 45 patients on Monday and Thursdays. And then, here at the studio, I only allot myself, Wednesday and Fridays right now to see clients. And then my Tuesdays are my podcast days. So since I'm so dived into this podcasting, so right now, I mean, I'm seeing maybe 2 to 3 clients on my Wednesday and Fridays, since I've just have so much going on. But I'm trying to focus on those two aspects only, my business and then my podcast. So right now, that's where I'm at.
Okay. So you're still growing, it sounds like too. So, okay,
Correct.
so then who stretches Ian?
Yes. So
Or do
I
you
have
stretch yourself?
no. I actually go. I've reached out to several practitioners like myself who've been doing it for several years. One probably about 20 minutes in town, and then 20 minutes south. So I've gone to both of them to get stretched. They're actually level 3, so 2 levels higher than me, and probably been about doing this for 7+ years. So I've been picking their brain and kind of getting insights from them because they've doing it for so long. So we usually do some trade sessions. Definitely every 3 months, I'd say that's where I typically find I need to go and get a session in, just so I can release some tension, especially that still on my left side. It feels like it's still tight, but that's where we've continued to work alongside and just build that community here, since there's only a few of us here in Maryland.
Do two things. It looks like they do a really good job, just from the pictures that I've seen on your website and reading the books. They do a really good job of teaching you guys how to take care of your own bodies and how to have good stances and holds so that you're safe in the whole process of the fascia stretch therapy, right?
Yes, and that is actually 100% true. That this type of modality is to protect the practitioner, so that we are not put ourselves into like situations where we could affect our bodies. Um, because the story is that um, Anne Frederick, she's a 5 foot
You're teeny.
very petite woman, but she was working on these NFL athletes who were twice the size of her.
Yeah.
So she had to figure out a way to leverage her own body without putting herself in danger. And with her background in dance, she was able to create this modality where it's just fluid movement and just creating like a dance type of stretch, And so for us, and that's why it's really attracted me, because when I was doing this assisted stretching, it didn't feel natural for my body to be in these, typical positions, whether it was like just your standard hamstring stretch. Just they're just it's such a way that I'm able, like I said, to leverage my body and to get under someone's limb or arm or wherever it is, so that I am not using as much effort, but to use more of that traction and leaning. And it's something that I feel like most people should experience, because it's, like I said, they're they're gonna feel so much better, because um, it's not as rough or not as vigorous, I would say, this type of stretching. So definitely, as practitioners, we do try to take care of our body, because it could be labor intensive, since we're on our feet and we're working with different weights and bodies of people. So yes.
Okay. Does the fascia stretch community or the Kristen and Frederick, who are giving the certifications out, do they keep any kind of a database so that if somebody like me wanted to find somebody like you close by, does that exist, or is it just a process of Googling and finding out where one might be? Because I don't think there's one here in Omaha, and I'm disappointed about that.
I will look it up for you actually after this. Yes, there is. If you go to stretch2win.com, there's actually on the page where you can find a practitioner near you in your location, or you can become a practitioner. So on their website, the homepage website, those are the two places. I think further down below that you can find a practitioner or become one. But I think so far, the last time I just checked, there's been 8,000 practitioners worldwide.
Really? Worldwide even?
Yes.
Wow, awesome.
Worldwide. Yes, correct. I know in Toronto, where I went to get my certification, there are people from different countries, Europe, Bermuda, Asia that have come, and same thing with Arizona. People are coming from all over, different countries learning because they are wanting to include this into their practice, whether if they're, physical therapists or chiropractors or Reiki practitioners. It's amazing why and where these people are coming from. I think it's just they built a brand and they built this, longevity in fascia work for 30 years that people are kind of like drawn to. So
yeah, it feels like they're really doing it right to me too when I see their books and everything. But thank you. I wrote down the website. Okay, so how do you explain fascia to your clients who come in and say, somebody said I should come try this, and what do you tell them?
Yeah. Funny thing is that on my podcast earlier, I asked that same question as well. And so it reminded me that with fascia, people can't see it. So we have to show them in a simple way or some analogy so that they can understand, because physically we can't see the fascia, right? So one example I give is the t-shirt analogy. So if you pull on one side of the t-shirt, you'll see some lines that's being pulled at this tension spot, let's say. But with this tension, with this line that are being pulled, there's usually like somewhere else that it's being pulled, whether it's the opposite side, further down here. But with fascia, it's just basically something that is connective tissue that's encased all around these organs and muscles and ligaments that's embedded that surrounds it. And it's that third system that's missing. Besides the muscle system and the skeletal system, it's the fascial system that what holds it together. And so I tell also people is that without the fascial system, there is no way, if you're an athlete, to create some power or some torque or to basically move that muscle and skeletal system. There's no way to do that without the fascia system, because it's also that the sensory. It's also something that it holds tension. So you need that to do your athletic performances. But if I have to give an analogy besides the t-shirt, it'll just be the thin film that you'd see in a chicken breast, because everyone has seen chicken breast and the little thin film when you're cutting it that kind of encompasses and holds it. So it's something I have to break down simple and understandable and relatable to people so they can say, oh yeah, that makes sense, or that does seem true. So
Okay. Can you tell us about a client story where your practice, your technique made a difference for them?
yes. So I'd say my day one client, like I said, he's the 13-year-old. He came first because he has some external rotator issues. He's a pitcher. So that was the first reason he was coming in for, is just to get that external rotator in his shoulders, kind of loosened up prior to his season, which started recently. But as we were going along these sessions, so he's been seeing me for 6 months. We've start to see some imbalances of his ankles, some hips that are really tight. And so we started working on that as well. So once we start to unlock and help him gain some range of motion in his ankle, since you really need that for pitching and mechanics. And even with hips, he was able to feel better just throughout the sessions, because I always like to follow up. I always like to check to see if what we're doing is helping him. And that feedback has helped us to get to the point where he's more mobile now in his mechanics and throwing. His dad, which he comes along with, has seen his improvements. And so it's more of a helping the body to realign and, of course, find some imbalances that might, that he has faced since he was born. So it's been awesome to see his progress within just 6 months. I always tell clients you can typically find results. Your first session, it might take a couple sessions, because each body is different.
Yeah, how cool to be able to make a difference for somebody so young and to start shifting their mindset about their bodies at that age. It's just that's invaluable. That's amazing. I love it. So, how about older adults? Because I think it's common, or your older adults are my age in their 50s. Sounds like that's your highest age. But people really have a mindset that when they get into their 40s and especially in their 50s, they can't change their bodies. We start to crisp up, right? And get less mobile. Have you seen any good results from working with people more in that age range?
Yeah, I think when I first started, in my stretch therapy journey, that's where it intrigued me, because I guess with my background in healthcare, like I was, working with the geriatric older population where they were in chronic pain, or they weren't able to do their active daily livings at home, and so that, to me, um, I had to help them overcome um, the mindset that, oh, I'm old, I'm never going to be able to, take walks with my wife again, or continue to do my sports because I got injured. I have to help those type of, that age group to say, no, your body is meant to adapt, and you can change this, as long as, you're consistent, and you do these type of, stretches or strengthening exercises at home. And I think it might just be, the type of people that they are, or just the mindset that they've had, and thinking that once, you get older, you can't do the activities or things that you love to because you're old and frail. I think that's false. I think it's your body's meant to move and continue to move. There's so many people you could probably find out that, they're 70 and they're still bowling, or they're still taking walks. They're not using canes. So I think we have to help in that population, that what we're doing with fascia work, it's applicable to them. And so I don't have one specific person in that age group that I've worked with where, they're seeing results. But I feel like most people in that age group, 50 and above, like, you can. It's possible. It's just, do you want to, and are you willing to do that? Because it's something people are uncomfortable with or don't want to, is that change, or to try something new. So.
Oh, totally agree. The change is hard, but when you finally, it's my favorite age group to work with, just because it's so cool to have someone who has that mindset and be able to shift it and see that sense of hope kind of return. Yeah, that's what gets me. You mentioned giving people things to do. Do you give people homework or things to do between sessions with you?
Yeah. So, let's say if we are working with someone who is in the athletic population, or someone who wants to just gain, greater range of motion to do, like I said, active daily living things. I really hone upon what I do as a stretch therapist. I'm giving that flexibility, but also need to incorporate some strengthening, because just like a rubber band, if you keep stretching that rubber band, it just becomes floppy and there's no form. But if you're to, give some tautness on the other end, that's what creates that shape of the rubber band. So you need some strengthening. some opposing forces. So I do give some, simple exercises that they can do, whether if it's some hip work. So let's say if they're doing some hip work, some 90-90s, some pigeon stretches. Of course, some ankle work. I'm a big proponent of how everything starts from the ground up. So increasing their ankle flexibility. What else have I done? Some core work is very important too. So if they have tight glutes, just doing some, planks, side planks with some hip bridges. I just try to personalize what areas that they feel that they're either tight or weak, and incorporate some of those just in the beginning. Just I don't want to overflood them with too much, because that first session is typically just too much for them. So I try to do at least 1 or 2 exercise, make sure that they're doing it for a week or until they come back, and then we can always reassess. So I'm all about, doing 1 or 2 simple homeworks, but make sure that they're consistent, come back, reassess, and let's go from there.
I have a similar philosophy. You can't give people too much or they just don't do it. Or they can't remember how to do all of them correctly, so they just don't do any of them. Okay, cool. What's the frequency there? How frequently do you see people, especially in the beginning versus maintenance mode?
Yeah, beginning, I always like to say, it depends on their goals and their circumstances. So average, I'll just probably give like a basic person that I see, maybe once a week, average for 3 months, and then we can reassess. But I always like to do a before and after photo, video, so that they can see progress with what I do as a fascia stretch therapy. I love seeing photos and videos so that they can visually see, wow, this has helped me in just my first session compared to 3-4 months down the road, how much they've gained in their mobility and their flexibility. Just because that's what I do. I help people with their range of motion and flexibility, so they need to be able to see that visually to see progress. And so that's what I typically do is once a week, 3 months, reassess to see, okay, do we need to continue to see every week, or can we tailor out once every other week, once a month? But maintenance mode, definitely, I would say like once every 2 weeks.
Okay, great. Has there been anything that has been really surprising or unexpected in your process of coming into this work and continuing to grow?
Man, I think it's just probably just learning about myself as a fascia stretch therapist, like how little I know of the information that's out there. And so I always have to give myself some grace, knowing that, I'm new to body work, I'm new to fascia, but I have a drive to learn and continue to learn from others. So at first, it's definitely the imposter syndrome that hit me. But the more I'm doing this, the more I'm working with clients, the more I see like the results I'm getting, and how the feedback I get from clients, knowing that what I do is it's actually helping them. It's actually giving them relief and some joy back in their life. So that was the hardest part, is just kind of knowing that I'm still a small fish in a big pond, and knowing that this is just the beginning of where I want to end up eventually down the road.
Yeah, well, it sounds like you're already making a difference with people, and that's really, I would imagine you have a similar heart and why you went into this. So now that you mentioned that, where do you want to go with your practice? What is your vision for yourself and your practice?
So I say there's a twofold.
Okay.
One, I would love to, of course, continue to help people locally here in my community. So whether if it's increasing the level, whether getting to level 3 or 4 in the FSD world, so I can continue to work with deaf like population where I'm drawn more to, or even like hopefully open up a brick and mortar outside of my studio. I actually want to go out and continue to expand and hopefully hire a practitioner too, so I can get some time back in my day. But my second goal is probably, starting an online course and a business to supplement this, because I feel like I want to continue to reach more people globally. Um, Funny thing is that I'm looking to start a course or a training, some coaching for practitioners like myself, or even healthcare practitioners on um, financial wellness, because I feel like when you're starting a practice, you either have to, the mindset is, oh, I'm gonna borrow debt, or I'm gonna, borrow money from somewhere else to start this practice, or I'm just gonna eat rice and beans, start from the ground up. And how I built my practice is, debt free, paying cash. I'm not planning to borrow debt at all, because that's holding me back from, things I want to do in my life and my family. So I think it's just coaching people how you can build a practice, um, basically financially smart. So that's kind of what I'm envisioning to open up soon.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I agree with you, and that's how I started mine as well. I saved a lot of money before I left the real job, and then started without any debt. And that was a good, I don't know where I came up with that, but that was a good move. So I like that you're talking to people about doing it that way, because I think it gives you a lot more flexibility and freedom on how you want to pivot and grow and change. And yeah. Fantastic. I love that, Ian. Okay. I think I've got most of my questions down. So if someone wants to learn more about you, tell us your website or anything you want to share about how to contact you.
Yeah. So my website is stretch the number two go llc.com. They can book a session with me there. Or you can find me on social media on Instagram at stretch number two go underscore, or on my YouTube channel, Facebook, same thing, stretch to go LLC. Those are the ways that people can book a session to get a 30 and 60-minute sessions located here. I'm also mobile, so I can go to, their place of residence or the business. Just charge a travel fee, and I'm also expanding on doing some group stretches. So I also offer that as well. So I'm looking to hopefully serve more people.
Group, tell me more about that.
Yeah, yeah. So with let's say, because I'm starting to work with a pickleball business out here, and so I'm offering some group stretches, before they go play or after. So we'll do some simple fascia, self-fascial stretches that I'm also a life stretch instructor through Stretch to Win. So just going through some movements, working on those fascia lines. It's very simple. You don't need a table. You just sit down on the floor or standing. And so I'll be going through those type of stretches to get their bodies loosened up, warmed, primed, and then whether if it's either, not even into pickleball, or even at a desk job, just finding sitting down, kind of like yoga, chair yoga, but FSD on a chair. So it's just finding the different tensions and try to release it. So it's something that I'm actually trying to dive into as well, because I feel like I can, like I said, help more people through these group fascia stretches, and helping people feel that mind body awareness of where they're holding tension. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I love that you're working with people who play pickleball, all
Mhm.
ages, right? And really high injury rates. So I think you're doing a service to the community there. And then you also have your podcast. And who's your target audience for your podcast?
Yes. So my podcast, the Stretch to Go podcast, originally the intention was to basically have an all-in-one resource for people who are wanting to get into fascia stretch therapy, who don't know anything much about fascia, um, and giving some people some real life experience, real life stories, real life practitioners who are actually using this modality, and hearing how they're using it, how they're growing to practice. So It's more of things I wish I would have known before I started this. That's the reason why I created it. It's someone like myself who was searching and looking for any place to learn about fascia stretch therapy or how people are using it, because I wasn't finding that on the internet. So I wanted to create this podcast where people can listen to every week and hear different stories, different backgrounds, because people are on my podcast who are doing podcasts like you, or who are occupational therapists working fascia. And that's where I'm kind of even broadening my podcast now, not only for FST practitioners, but people like yourself who are working with the fascial system and how they're helping clients. Because I think it's a bigger spectrum now for me, is like, I want people to learn more about fascia, just like how you're creating this podcast. Is you want people and therapists to know how fascia is such an important role in their daily life, and of course in their practice, how they can use it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I suppose you're with 8,000 FST practitioners around the world. You're almost a never-ending source for your podcast. So that's awesome. Okay, is there anything else that you would want the people who listen to my podcast know about you or your practice or the therapy that you do?
Yeah, well, I feel that with I guess if they are looking into stretch therapy, the Stretch to Win Institute is by far the gold standard of fascia stretch therapy in itself, because they've been doing it for so long, 30 plus years. They've written books, they've helped founded the Fascia Research Society. So there's credibility there. There's longevity in the game. And like I said, it's something that people are looking to doing this type of modality, like what I'm doing, they should first go to there and then do their research. I guess my second thing is that fascia stretch therapy is such a complementary modality to different types of setting, whether it's in occupational therapy, the chiropractic, the physical therapy, the personal training, massage. It's a modality that's so easy to use and so safe for different practitioners that they can learn this and incorporate and give to clients that can help them, gain results that they're probably missing. And like I said, like you said at the beginning, with fascia, I mean, it's not a one size fits all. That's why I love how what I do, and may not help that one person, but it could help someone else, or it could be the missing link, what they've tried with acupuncture or cupping or something else, that this could be a missing link to their recovery or to their road to wellness. So definitely for people who to understand that fascia stretch therapy is not it's the way, it's just one of the ways that fascia work can be incorporated.
Yeah. Well, I am going to definitely get on that website and see if I can find anybody within reasonable driving distance, or I'm going to be traveling a little bit. I know I'll be in Green Valley, Arizona for a couple of weeks. So you said there's lots of people down there. So I might find somebody close by and give it a try. So
you should actually reach out to Kristen and Frederick on their Instagram. Who knows? You can stop by their institute, because they're in Chandler, Arizona. So
okay, I imagine I will maybe get to meet them. I am registered to go to the Fascia Research Society in August. It's in New Orleans. If you're interested in going, it's in the United States this year, so something to think about. But okay, Ian, thank you so much for reaching out a while back and connecting with me. I totally enjoyed this. I'm sure everybody who's listening will too. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Amy.
Thank you for tuning in to the Fascia-Informed Therapist. It's been a pleasure sharing insights and strategies to help you integrate fascia science into your practice. I'm Amy Mayer, and I hope today's episode has inspired you to explore further and take your therapeutic skills to the next level. Remember, we're committed to creating and providing top-notch, evidence-based, fascia-informed continuing education that empowers you as an occupational therapy practitioner. Stay connected with us for more enriching content, and don't forget to check out our online courses to deepen your expertise. Until next time, keep expanding your knowledge, refining your skills, and confidently applying the science of fascia to your practice. Here's to advancing together in health and wellness.